Imagine, if you will, a scene unfolding back in 1985. Dr. Daniel Torres, a Chilean biologist, is meticulously surveying the mammal population on Cape Sheriff, Antarctica. His task includes gathering marine debris. As he reaches for a large plastic container, his eye catches something unusual. A stark white rock amidst the dark volcanic stones. But this isn't just any rock, it's a human skull. Further investigation by Dr. Torres reveals a haunting truth. The skull belonged to a young woman, likely in her early 20s, who once lived in southern Chile. The evidence suggests she was in a state of starvation when she died. The mystery deepens years later as scientists unearth fragments of femurs. DNA analysis confirms they belong to the same ill-fated woman. Now, this discovery throws a wrench into the gears of established history. How did the skull of a young Chilean woman end up in the desolate landscape of Antarctica, specifically at a site known to be frequented by sealers? Historical records indicate that women rarely accompanied sealing expeditions in the early 1800s. Adding to the enigma, the site yielded nothing else: no documents, no identifying marks, no tools, no personal belongings, nothing to shed light on her identity, her fate, or how she arrived at such a remote location. Could this mean that Chilean explorers established a presence on the Antarctic continent before anyone else? The implications are staggering. But the Antarctic ice holds other secrets too. Picture this. Scientists recover an ancient meteorite fragment, a relic from the cosmos, that could potentially hold evidence of extraterrestrial life. This space rock is estimated to be over 4 billion years old and believed to have originated from Mars. Back in 1996, NASA scientists announced the discovery of unique chemical signatures within the meteorite. These signatures, they speculated, could be the remnants of ancient Martian organisms. However, skepticism arose, and subsequent studies suggested that the carbon-rich chemicals were likely not biological in origin. Let's rewind to a time when Mars was a far more hospitable planet, teeming with water. During this epoch, colossal space rocks collided with the Martian surface. These impacts unleashed tremendous heat, reshaping the landscape. The meteorite discovered in Antarctica likely endured two such cataclysmic events before a third. Even more powerful impact sent it hurtling into the vast expanse of space. While still residing on Mars, this rock was saturated with water that seeped into the tiniest fissures. This water likely deposited peculiar carbon bubbles, which scientists initially mistook for the fingerprints of ancient Martian life. Antarctica, it turns out, is a prime location for recovering space rocks. But what about a pyramid? You wouldn't expect to find one there, would you? While it may resemble one at first glance, this pyramid is actually a mountain. Easily located on Google Maps within the Ellsworth Mountains, the tallest mountain range in Antarctica, stretching nearly 250 miles. Explorers from the British Antarctic expedition first stumbled upon this uniquely shaped peak and affectionately nicknamed it the Pyramid. Over the last century, speculation has run rampant. Was it truly a pyramid? And if so, who constructed it in the heart of Antarctica? Scientists have since debunked the mystery, explaining that the rocky peak protruding from the ice is simply a geological coincidence. The pyramid shape, shared by the neighboring peak, is merely a trick of nature. Meanwhile, in North America, researchers at the University of Colorado made a remarkable discovery near Yellowstone National Park: a 10,000-year-old hunting tool. Encased in ice, it emerged as the glaciers retreated due to rising temperatures. The researchers kept their find secret for a year, wanting to publish their findings in a scientific journal before amateur archaeologists descended upon the site, potentially disturbing the area. The dart, roughly 3 feet long, crafted from birch wood, still bore markings indicative of its use by an ancient hunter. Imagine this dart in its prime, a sharp tip at one end and a small dimple at the other, designed to connect to a hook on a specialized tool known as an atlatl. This atlatl acted as an extension of the hunter's arm, enabling them to launch the dart with far greater speed and force than possible by hand alone. This is ancient technology at its finest. The scientists who discovered the dart report an increasing number of ancient tools, plant life, and even animal remains surfacing in regions like Alaska, Canada, and Europe as the ice continues to melt. Their next endeavor involves collaborating with Native American tribes in Glacier National Park, Montana, to locate and safeguard any further treasures that have been hidden beneath the ice for millennia. And finally, in Antarctica, paleontologists unearthed something truly extraordinary: the fossilized remains of a creature that bears an uncanny resemblance to the legendary Loch Ness Monster. What they discovered was a Plesiosauria. This magnificent marine reptile graced the oceans during the age of the dinosaurs. This particular specimen boasted 4 powerful flippers, an elongated neck, and an overall length of 36 feet from head to tail, about the length of a telephone pole. This specific type of plesiosaur represents the largest example ever found by scientists. It was a formidable predator, a true apex predator of its time. Imagine a hidden world, teeming with life, concealed beneath a colossal ice shelf. Recent explorations have unveiled a stunning array of creatures, some potentially new to science, thriving in this frigid, lightless realm. Even if some of these species are already known, the sheer abundance and diversity of life discovered is truly remarkable. Here, amidst the crushing pressure and near-freezing temperatures, we find snails, their shells gleaming in the faint light of submersibles. Bristleworms, segmented and adorned with delicate hair-like projections, wriggle through the sediment. Tiny crabs and shrimp, crustaceans adapted to this extreme environment, scuttle across the seafloor. And then, there are the ethereal beings, the giant phantom jellyfish. These gelatinous giants, with a scientific name almost as otherworldly as their appearance, Stygiomedusa gigantea, are a sight to behold. Picture a bell, the main body of the jellyfish, stretching over 3 feet in diameter. Trailing behind it are 4 immense arms, each reaching an astonishing 33 feet in length, about the same as a school bus. Though first documented in 1899, it took scientists over half a century to recognize this magnificent creature as a distinct species. The phantom jellyfish drifts through the water, its translucent purplish body giving it a ghostly presence. Unlike other jellyfish that use tentacles to ensnare prey, this species possesses ribbon-like arms. These arms unfurl to capture food, drawing it towards the jellyfish's mouth, located at the center of its bell. Despite lacking a brain in the conventional sense, observations suggest that the giant phantom jelly exhibits surprisingly sophisticated behavior. Researchers have noted its controlled and deliberate movements, particularly when navigating the complex terrain of the seafloor. It appears cautious, almost thoughtful, as it maneuvers through tight spaces. These movements hint at a level of intelligence or coordination beyond what is typically associated with jellyfish, creatures possessing only a simple nerve net to perceive their surroundings. Studying the phantom jelly could unlock secrets about how animals without brains can successfully navigate and thrive in challenging underwater environments. Our journey continues, revealing another fascinating inhabitant of this hidden world: the bristleworm, scientifically known as Polychaeta. These segmented worms, found in the deepest and coldest parts of the ocean, are characterized by the numerous bristles that line their bodies. These bristles serve multiple purposes: aiding in movement, sensing the environment, and providing protection from predators. One particularly striking example is the Antarctic scale worm. This bristleworm, adapted to the frigid waters of Antarctica, boasts shimmering golden bristles that give it an almost regal appearance. Further exploration reveals giant vase-shaped sponges, silent witnesses to the passage of time. Sponges are notoriously slow-growing organisms. The immense size of these specimens suggests they have been steadily growing for centuries, perhaps even millennia. Their presence indicates that the deep-sea communities around them are not recent arrivals, but rather established ecosystems that have flourished under the ice for decades. This discovery challenged previous assumptions, revealing that ancient life was indeed thriving beneath the seemingly barren ice shelf. Past expeditions, which involved lowering cameras through holes in the ice or exploring iceberg areas long after the ice had broken away, often revealed a desolate seafloor with only sparse signs of life. However, this recent expedition, arriving just weeks after a massive iceberg calved, provided a unique glimpse into the vibrant ecosystem concealed beneath. The first 9 miles behind the ice shelf are a haven for life, a dark, cold, and isolated realm teeming with creatures. This demonstrates the remarkable resilience of life, its ability to persist even in environments that appear inhospitable. While the presence of life in these dark, cold depths might not be entirely unexpected, after all, many animals are adapted to such conditions. The sheer diversity of species is astonishing. The seabed beneath the ice shelf closely resembles areas of the Antarctic seabed that are exposed to the open ocean. But how can this be? Typically, phytoplankton, microscopic plants, thrive near the surface where sunlight penetrates. Krill, small shrimp-like crustaceans, feed on these phytoplankton at night. As the krill consume the phytoplankton, they sink, carrying food and nutrients to the ocean floor in the form of waste and decaying matter. This process sustains the deep-sea ecosystem. However, under a massive ice shelf, sunlight is blocked, preventing phytoplankton growth and disrupting the krill-mediated food chain. Scientists initially believed this would result in a scarcity of food and a limited number of animals. Yet, the abundance of life discovered suggests otherwise. It appears that food and nutrients are transported beneath the ice shelf by underwater currents, acting like subterranean rivers. These currents, largely originating from melting glacier water, deliver the sustenance necessary to support the thriving ecosystem. The presence of long-lived animals further supports this theory, indicating that these currents have been providing a consistent source of nourishment for a considerable period. Imagine a hidden world beneath a colossal iceberg, a realm teeming with life adapted to eternal darkness and frigid temperatures. Now picture that iceberg breaking away, adrift in the vast ocean. What becomes of the creatures that called this frozen sanctuary home? For eons, they thrived in a remarkably stable, pitch-black environment beneath the thick ice. Change is not their friend. The sudden exposure to light and altered conditions could irrevocably disrupt their delicate ecosystem. One of the scientists studying this phenomenon noted a concerning trend. The ice shelf from which the iceberg originated has been receding at an alarming rate, approximately 25 meters every 50 years. This is not an isolated incident. It's part of a larger, more ominous pattern. Antarctica's ice is melting at an accelerating pace, contributing to rising sea levels across the globe. This Antarctic discovery is therefore not just about isolated organisms. The team is working to understand how this hidden ecosystem fits into the bigger picture. By deciphering the changes occurring over decades, even centuries, we might gain the ability to predict future consequences. It's truly astonishing that a breaking piece of ice can reveal so much about our planet's future. Now let's shift our focus to another Antarctic enigma. A desolate expanse of white snow, whipped by freezing winds, seemingly lifeless, yet punctuated by weird, eerie signals emanating from deep within the Earth. These radio pulses defy explanation, their origin a complete mystery. Scientists are conducting an experiment called ANITA, short for Antarctica, Impulsive Transient Antenna. Imagine massive balloons, laden with detectors, floating high above the South Pole. Their mission? To detect extremely high-energy neutrinos. But how do they spot these elusive particles? By capturing the intense, short bursts of radio waves produced when neutrinos interact with the ice. Neutrinos themselves are fascinating. These tiny, almost massless particles carry no electric charge. They are ubiquitous, with billions streaming through you every second, even as you watch this video. They originate from diverse sources: the sun, exploding stars, the depths of space, even from beneath your feet. The sun constantly emits them as it fuses hydrogen into helium. Dying stars unleash colossal bursts of neutrinos during supernova explosions. Cosmic rays colliding with our atmosphere generate a cascade of new neutrinos. Some even arise from radioactive decay within the Earth. The oldest neutrinos have journeyed across the universe since the Big Bang. But they are practically invisible, rarely interacting with matter. This is why scientists require sophisticated experiments like ANITA to capture even a few. Let's return to that pivotal day when everything changed. Normally, the radio signals generated by neutrinos bounce off the ice and travel upwards, where ANITA's detectors await. The entire experiment is designed to study neutrinos and unlock secrets of distant cosmic events, such as supernovas. But on this day, the detectors picked up radio waves that were not bouncing off the ice. These signals appeared to be coming from below the horizon, from beneath the ice itself. This should be impossible. According to our current understanding of physics, signals cannot simply pass upwards through solid rock and ice. Stephanie Whistle from Penn State, one of the researchers, noted that these radio waves were arriving at incredibly steep angles, approximately 30 degrees below the surface. For this to occur, the signal would have to traverse thousands of miles of solid rock before reaching the detector. But if that were the case, the rock would have absorbed the signal entirely. Something simply didn't add up. The team meticulously reviewed their data, but no clear explanation emerged. While perplexing, this anomaly presented an exciting challenge. They suspected that these signals were not caused by neutrinos. When Anita detects a neutrino, it implies that the particle has traveled an extraordinary distance without colliding with anything, possibly from the very edge of the observable universe. Whatever Anita has detected, it behaves unlike anything scientists have encountered before. It could indicate the existence of a completely new type of particle, or perhaps an unknown phenomenon. The team published their findings in physical review letters, but the mystery persists. No one truly understands what is happening beneath the Antarctic ice, but something out there is defying the known laws of physics. If scientists can successfully detect and trace these enigmatic particles, they could unlock unprecedented insights into the universe, surpassing the capabilities of even the largest and most advanced telescopes. You see, new neutrinos, elusive particles, traverse the cosmos at near light speed, rarely colliding with anything. Imagine them as messengers, carrying pristine data about events that unfolded millions, even billions, of light years away. This is why scientists like Whistle and countless others across the globe dedicate themselves to constructing incredibly sensitive detectors, all in the hopes of capturing neutrino signals. Even the faintest blip can be profoundly significant. In this field, a single, tiny anomaly might unlock a treasure trove of knowledge. Across the planet, researchers have engineered specialized setups in the icy expanses of Antarctica and the high altitudes of South America, all designed to snare these elusive particles. The Antarctic, with its stark, silent beauty, provides an ideal setting, and the experiment known as ANITA takes full advantage of that. Picture this: almost no radio interference, no bustling cities, no disruptive traffic, no stray signals to muddy the waters. The setup itself is ingenious. A cluster of radio antennas is attached to a colossal balloon, sent soaring dozens of miles into the stratosphere. Suspended high above the endless white plains, it gazes downwards, listening intently for the whispers of radio signals emanating from deep within the ice. Now, imagine a scenario where one of these incredibly rare neutrinos, a tau neutrino specifically, collides with the ice. This collision births another particle, a tau lepton. The tau lepton erupts from the ice and immediately begins to decay, shedding energy as it transforms into smaller particles. This decay process unleashes what's known as an air shower, a cascade of invisible particles surging through the air. If our eyes could perceive these air showers, we might see something akin to a sparkler waved in the darkness, leaving bright, fleeting trails in its wake. By meticulously studying the direction and patterns of these signals, those originating from within the ice showers, and those erupting in the air showers, scientists can pinpoint the origin of the original neutrino. Typically, this process is remarkably precise, akin to bouncing a ball off the ground and accurately predicting its trajectory. But these new, strange signals defied expectations. They weren't bouncing as predicted. The angles were all wrong, far steeper than any existing models could explain. Driven by this anomaly, the team delved deeper. They meticulously analyzed data collected from Anita's numerous balloon flights. They then compared this data against a vast library of computer simulations of cosmic rays and neutrinos, filtering out the usual background noise. To ensure accuracy, they cross-referenced their findings with other experiments, such as the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory, also located in Antarctica, and the Pierre Auger Observatory in Argentina. Their mission: to determine if anyone else had detected similar upward-moving air showers. But the mystery only deepened. The results were perplexing. No other detectors had registered anything that could account for what Anita had observed. This led researchers to label the entire situation as anomalous, essentially admitting, "We have no idea what this is, but it certainly isn't behaving like a neutrino." As Whistle explained, the signals simply didn't align with the established understanding of how particles should behave. This sparked speculation. Could it be evidence of new physics? A faint whisper of dark matter. Dark matter, that enigmatic, invisible substance, is believed to be the scaffolding that prevents the universe from collapsing. It's everywhere, yet we can't see it. For nearly a century, scientists have been tirelessly trying to unravel its true nature, and it remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in science. Everything we can observe, stars, planets, humans, dogs, constitutes only about 5% of the universe. Dark matter accounts for approximately 27%. The remainder is an even stranger entity known as dark energy. Scientists theorize that dark matter provides galaxies with their structure, acting as a cosmic glue that binds everything together. Without it, the universe would be unrecognizable. To discover that this theory holds true would be revolutionary. However, the fact that Ice Cube and Auger haven't observed the same phenomena significantly narrows the possibilities. Penn State has been deeply involved in the neutrino detection field for almost a decade, constructing detectors and analyzing a wide spectrum of cosmic signals. The team is already embarking on their next ambitious project, a cutting-edge detector called PUEO. It promises to be larger, more sensitive, and far more adept at detecting those elusive neutrino signals. For now, this remains one of those enduring cosmic enigmas that keep scientists engrossed. However, the team remains optimistic. When PUEO is deployed, its advanced sensors will be better equipped. This means that if more of these anomalies exist, this time they will be detected, perhaps finally revealing the secrets behind them. Back in 2020, the news of strange signals emanating from deep beneath Antarctica sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Within days, headlines were splashed across the media. NASA had imagined a reality flipped on its head, a cosmos operating in reverse. But what truly transpired millions of years ago? What phenomena did scientists genuinely observe? The narrative we are about to explore is a tapestry woven from scientific intrigue, misinterpreted data, and humanity's innate yearning to believe in the extraordinary. Even now, headlines resurface periodically, proclaiming that NASA has stumbled upon a parallel universe lurking beneath the Antarctic ice, a mirror world where time's arrow flies backward. But let's dispel the myth. NASA did not unearth a backward reality, a realm where individuals age in reverse or converse in palindromic sentences. What they did discover, however, was genuinely perplexing. Picture this. Scientists piloting an odd-looking device above Antarctica, christened ANITA, short for Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna. ANITA, in essence, is a colossal balloon adorned with antennas, drifting serenely over the icy expanse. Its mission? To eavesdrop on whispers from the cosmos in the form of neutrinos. Neutrinos, elusive subatomic particles, are the phantoms of the universe. Possessing almost no mass, they effortlessly traverse matter, even entire planets, as if they were mere illusions. Typically, these neutrinos originate from the depths of space, showering Earth from above. Most neutrinos, the common low-energy variety, slip through our planet as though it were empty space. They are akin to minuscule insects flitting through a chain-link fence. However, there exists a rarer breed, high-energy neutrinos. These cosmic bullets interact more frequently with matter and are susceptible to being blocked. Should a high-energy neutrino collide with a sufficiently dense object, such as Earth's rocky core, it might finally strike a particle and be absorbed. Think of it as a high-speed tennis ball occasionally hitting the fence. Low-energy neutrinos, ubiquitous and largely harmless, are notoriously difficult to detect, but it is precisely the high-energy neutrinos that ANITA is designed to capture. When these energetic particles slam into the Antarctic ice, they emit radio waves that are relatively easy to detect. This faint radio signal is known as the Ascarian effect. Hence, Anita's vigil above Antarctica, where the pristine, dry, and radio-quiet ice provides the ideal environment for intercepting these elusive signals. So, what did Anita detect? It detected a signal emanating from beneath the ice, resembling a high-energy neutrino originating from within the Earth. A puzzling observation. Let's analyze this logically. Perhaps the neutrino began its journey somewhere in the northern hemisphere, traversed the entire planet, and emerged on the opposite side. Yet this remains highly improbable. Neutrinos with such immense energy should have been intercepted within the Earth, as we previously established. Scientists were understandably perplexed. This defied the established laws of physics, suggesting that something beyond our current comprehension was at play. When confronted with the inexplicable, one must explore all avenues, even the most outlandish. And thus, the speculation began. A group of researchers proposed that this enigmatic signal could be explained by a CPT-symmetric universe. CPT represents charge, parity, and time. Three fundamental ways to invert the universe. Charge signifies swapping all particles with their antiparticles. For instance, exchanging electrons, negatively charged, with positrons, their antimatter counterparts, positively charged. Parity involves mirroring the universe, akin to viewing it through a looking glass where left becomes right and vice versa. And time, naturally, entails running time backward, like rewinding a film. A cornerstone of physics is CPT symmetry, which posits that if all three of these transformations are applied simultaneously, the laws of physics should remain unchanged. This is a profound concept. If we were to take the entire universe, swap matter with antimatter, mirror it, and reverse time, it would still adhere to the same physical laws. Why is this so? In our universe, an electron collides with a positron, resulting in their mutual annihilation and the release of photons. Now, mirror this event. What do you observe? Photons spontaneously transform into a positron and an electron, albeit mirrored and time reversed. The underlying physics remain consistent, even if operating in reverse. The equations hold true. Therefore, nature deems this scenario plausible. Here's where the truly mind-bending idea emerges. Some physicists theorized, what if the Big Bang spawned two universes? One, our own, composed of ordinary matter and progressing forward in time. The other, a mirror twin crafted from antimatter, moving backward in time from our perspective. This doesn't imply that inhabitants of the antimatter universe perceive time flowing in reverse. To them, time advances just as it does for us. However, from our vantage point, they appear to be moving from our future toward our past, and conversely. To them, we are the anomalies, moving backward. Imagine two universes, reflections of each other, like in a perfect mirror. In this scenario, we're talking about exact CPT mirror images. This means the fundamental laws of physics are the same in both, but everything is symmetrical. It's not some far-fetched science fiction concept, although it might sound like it. This idea actually helps to explain some of the most perplexing mysteries in physics. Consider the imbalance of matter and antimatter. According to theory, they should have been created in equal amounts during the Big Bang. Yet, our universe is overwhelmingly dominated by matter. Or consider the strange symmetry and balance we observe in the universe. These are puzzles that the mirror universe concept attempts to address. Now, let's consider neutrinos, those elusive subatomic particles. Some scientists have proposed a mind-bending idea. Perhaps these upward-moving neutrinos are originating from that CPT mirror universe. Imagine it as a crack between two symmetrical realities, a place where particles can leak through. It's a speculative concept, to be sure. It remains unproven, more of a thought experiment than established fact. But the media, as it often does, seized upon the idea and ran wild with it. Headlines blared, "Proof of parallel. Universe going backwards in time. Found in Antarctica." Other news outlets jumped on the bandwagon, portraying it as if NASA had definitively discovered a parallel universe, confirming time travel and the existence of the multiverse. Meanwhile, the scientists working on the actual Antarctic research project, known as ANITA, were aghast. They tried to interject, to clarify that the signals they observed were indeed unusual, but that there were numerous conventional explanations that didn't require rewriting the fundamental laws of physics. It could have been an experimental error, an anomaly in particle behavior, or gaps in our understanding of neutrino interactions. Of course, in our modern world, expert opinions often get drowned out by sensational headlines. Once an idea like this takes hold on social media, it's nearly impossible to retract. However, this doesn't negate the possibility of a multiverse. Far from it. Physicists continue to explore the concept, acknowledging that some of these potential universes, if they exist, could operate under different physical laws. One prominent concept is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. This theory suggests that every time a quantum event occurs, with multiple possible outcomes, a particle moving in different directions, a decision being made, all of those possibilities actually happen, each branching off into its own separate universe. This would result in an infinite number of realities, each subtly different, diverging from every possible event. Imagine a universe where the dinosaurs never went extinct, or another where you never sent that regrettable text message. Then there's the bubble universe theory. In the moments after the Big Bang, the universe underwent a period of rapid expansion known as inflation. Some scientists hypothesize that inflation never fully ceased and continues in certain regions. This would mean that new bubble universes are constantly forming, each with its own unique set of physical laws. Our own universe would simply be one bubble in a vast cosmic ocean of others. A third intriguing idea involves shadow matter. We know that dark matter exists because its gravity influences the movement of galaxies, yet it remains invisible to us. Some scientists speculate that dark matter might be composed of particles similar to those that make up ordinary matter, but somehow hidden from our detection. This mirror or shadow matter could potentially form entire invisible galaxies, perhaps even harboring life, existing right alongside our own. For now, we might only be able to detect it through its gravitational effects. But it's important to remember that in the realm of physics, these are all theories, mathematical possibilities. We lack direct evidence to confirm their reality. If we ever do discover definitive proof of a multiverse, let's hope it doesn't become another case of the boy who cried wolf, where skepticism has been exhausted by false alarms. Now, let's journey back millions of years to a time when Antarctica was vastly different from the frozen continent we know today. Imagine lush jungles teeming with life. And in this prehistoric world, around 56 million years ago, a terrifying predator stalked the land. A giant, flesh-eating bird. This creature stood approximately 6 feet tall and weighed as much as a fully grown lion. For millions of years, it reigned supreme, facing no natural challenges. But what ultimately led to its disappearance? And could there be even larger, more formidable predators still hidden beneath the Antarctic ice? Paleontologists have unearthed 2 massive claw bones in Antarctica, revealing the existence of this fearsome bird. These claws, sharp, curved, and incredibly powerful, were excavated from the Eocene-aged rocks of Seymour Island, dating back roughly 40 to 50 million years. The shape of these claws leaves no room for doubt. They belong to the so-called terror birds, or Forus racidae, some of the most formidable predators to ever walk the earth. These birds were flightless, possessing no need for wings. Instead, they were capable of sprinting at astonishing speeds, like ostriches from a waking nightmare. For millions of years, terror birds dominated South America. Now, for the first time, their presence has been confirmed in Antarctica. In that distant era, South America and Antarctica were still connected. Imagine, if you will, a prehistoric world where continents were connected, a superhighway for ancient creatures. It was a time when birds, driven by instinct and the changing seasons, could easily traverse vast distances, migrating south to find a new home on the icy landmass of Antarctica. And here, in this frozen realm, something extraordinary happened. This creature, this avian predator, didn't just survive, it thrived. But then, as the ages turned, this nightmare of an animal vanished from the face of the Earth. The question is, why? The most plausible explanation lies in the relentless shift in temperature. Picture Antarctica slowly succumbing to the cold, transforming into the frozen wasteland we recognize today. As the ice advanced, its prey dwindled, leaving this apex predator without a sufficient food supply. In the end, it disappeared, leaving behind no descendants, a chilling reminder of nature's unforgiving hand. But the story doesn't end there. Researchers continue their relentless pursuit, driven by the hope of unearthing a complete skeleton, a window into this lost world. They also dare to wonder what other colossal species might still be hidden beneath the ice, waiting to be discovered. Could these ancient birds have evolved into a completely new Antarctic lineage? Only time and the persistent work of paleontology will tell. For now, all that remains are two giant, creepy claws, a tantalizing glimpse into a forgotten past. The common misconception is that Antarctica is a barren wasteland, devoid of life. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Penguins, those charming waddling creatures, call this icy continent home. And let's not forget, Antarctica once played host to 6-foot-tall monsters. The emperor penguin, the largest penguin species alive today, is a testament to the resilience of life in this extreme environment. These incredible birds can dive to depths of over 1,800 feet and hold their breath for over 20 minutes, a true marvel of adaptation. Now let's journey back roughly 38 million years to a time when giant ancient penguins roamed the Antarctic shores. Imagine penguins the size of humans, towering over the landscape. Fossil evidence reveals that these behemoths possessed long, sharp beaks, transforming them into terrifying hunters of fish and squid, the apex predators of their time. And the fish, they are equally fascinating. Forget giant squids. The colossal squids are the true terrors of the deep. These creatures, reaching lengths of over 40 feet, are armed with massive, razor-sharp beaks and eyes the size of dinner plates, a truly nightmarish vision. Finally, there are the orcas, the apex predators of the Antarctic Ocean. These intelligent and formidable hunters operate in packs, employing coordinated strategies, much like a wolf pack of the sea. They work together to take down seals, fish, and even massive whales, showcasing the raw power and collaborative nature of the natural world. But life in Antarctica isn't just about the giants. Even tiny plants like moss and algae manage to cling to existence against all odds. Antarctic hairgrass and pearlwort are testaments to the tenacity of life, finding a way to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Numerous myths and misconceptions shroud Antarctica in mystery. One common belief is that when icebergs break off from glaciers, they immediately drift into the open ocean and melt away. But the reality is far more complex and chaotic. When an iceberg calves from a glacier or ice shelf, its journey is fraught with peril. It must first contend with underwater obstacles, often becoming grounded on the seafloor for decades, trapped in a frozen embrace. Then, they become ensnared in powerful whirlpools, spinning in place for months at the mercy of the ocean's currents. Consider iceberg A23A, a colossal mass of ice that spent nearly 40 years, frozen in place before finally breaking free. Yet even then, its journey was far from straightforward. It was promptly caught in a swirling ocean vortex for another 8 months, a prisoner of the sea. After this ordeal, their paths are dictated by a complex interplay of ocean currents, tides, winds, and even underwater topography. They don't simply float freely. Their movements are a series of unpredictable twists and turns, a testament to the raw power and complexity of nature. Speaking of glaciers, another persistent rumor claims that humans cannot travel more than 301 miles inland in Antarctica due to an impassable ice wall, freezing jet fuel, deadly winds, and a lack of oxygen. But this is patently false. Antarctica has been extensively explored by planes, vehicles, and even scientists on foot. There's an entire research station, the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, located at the South Pole, where people live and work year-round. The ice wall is real, a massive ice cliff rising dramatically above the ocean. But it's not some secret barrier, a hidden boundary. It's an ice shelf, a thick slab of ice that forms when glaciers slowly flow off the land and spread out over the ocean. Almost 3/4 of Antarctica's coastline is composed of these ice shelves, but they don't form a continuous ring around the continent. Antarctica is undeniably one of the most extreme and challenging places on Earth. Yet we have conquered its challenges, and our understanding of this frozen continent grows with each passing year. That's why millions of dollars are invested annually in maintaining research stations, protecting wildlife, and ensuring the well-being of the people who call this icy wilderness home. But where does all this money go? Antarctic research stations are essentially small cities requiring electricity, heating, water purification, food storage, and medical facilities. The largest station, McMurdo Station, is practically a town, housing over 1,000 people during the summer months. It boasts everything from a fire station to a gymnasium, a testament to human ingenuity and resilience in the face of adversity. The South Pole Station, situated deep inland, presents unique logistical challenges. Supplying it with food and fuel necessitates airplanes undertaking flights of thousands of miles in extreme cold, a constant battle against the elements. The internet, however, thrives on mystery. When Google Maps revealed what appeared to be a massive doorway in Antarctica, conspiracy theorists went into overdrive. Speculation ranged from Bigfoot's vacation home to a secret base or even a Star Trek spaceship hangar concealed beneath the ice. But the explanation, as is often the case, is far simpler and less sensational. It's actually imagine a colossal iceberg, adrift in the frigid waters. This icy behemoth, once part of a vast glacier, has become grounded in the shallows. Now it's engaged in a slow, agonizing melt. Watch as the relentless forces of nature sculpt this frozen giant. Eons of movement across the Antarctic landscape have already molded it, the ice flowing around immovable obstacles, creating bizarre and otherworldly shapes. The endless cycle of melting, fracturing, and refreezing further contorts the ice into truly unexpected forms. And let's not forget those fierce Antarctic winds, some of the strongest on the planet, relentlessly carving the ice into dramatic formations over untold years. Alas, no secret doorway to a lost world here, despite what our imaginations might conjure. Speaking of gateways, for decades, Argentina has proudly held the title of Gateway to Antarctica, the final staging post before expeditions plunge into the icy heart of the continent. It's the place where so many adventures begin. But now, another contender has emerged: Punta Arenas, Chile. Let's weigh these two options. Ushuaia, Argentina, undeniably boasts a closer proximity to Antarctica. It's a popular launch pad for tourist cruises, but crucially, there are no regularly scheduled flights to Antarctica from here. Nor are there any major scientific bases operating out of Ushuaia. The reason? It's largely under military control, and they restrict private flights, allowing only commercially operated ships. Now, consider Punta Arenas. Yes, it's situated further from Antarctica geographically. However, a staggering 22 countries and global organizations utilize it as their primary base of operations. Regular flights to Antarctica depart from here year after year. Importantly, private airlines can operate from Punta Arenas, effectively making it the true air connection to the southernmost continent. Ushuaia might possess the superior physical location, but Punta Arenas undeniably runs the Antarctic show. Argentina, it seems, made a critical misstep in choosing its Antarctic air base. Instead of establishing a simple, accessible base at sea level, they opted to construct the Marambio base high in the rugged, unforgiving terrain. Reaching it by land is utterly impossible. Every piece of equipment, every supply, every person must be flown in by helicopter, resulting in slow, expensive, and immensely frustrating operations. For half a century, Argentina has stubbornly clung to this questionable decision, while Chile has methodically built efficient, well-planned bases that the world now relies upon. If this situation remains unchanged, Ushuaia risks becoming little more than a tourist stop. But a far more alarming development is unfolding. It seems Antarctica is reverting to its distant past. This is supposed to be the coldest place on Earth, yet something truly shocking has occurred recently. For the first time in recorded history, temperatures in Antarctica soared above 68 degrees Fahrenheit. This continent, buried beneath miles of ice, typically experiences temperatures plummeting to a bone-chilling 112 degrees. But during the Antarctic winter of 2020, scientists recorded an astonishing 69 degrees on Seymour Island, hotter than many parts of Europe at that time. Scientists attribute this anomaly to several factors. Firstly, there are shifts in the way heat circulates throughout the planet's oceans. Secondly, the thawing of permafrost, driven by global warming, is releasing trapped greenhouse gases. It appears that the climate is changing at an accelerated pace, faster than even the most pessimistic models predicted. Now, let's turn our attention to Lake Enigma. What a fitting name! The very existence of this lake is perplexing, as it seemingly defies the expected conditions. And now, we've discovered actual life thriving deep beneath its icy surface. This remarkable find could potentially aid NASA in its ongoing search for life beyond Earth. This lake lies hidden deep within the icy heart of Antarctica. However, it's not a typical body of water as we understand it. It's more akin to a block of ice. Or so we thought. Just recently, Italian scientists unearthed a secret that had remained hidden for eons. An actual body of water. And within this water, life flourishes. Various microorganisms and even some peculiar little hunters inhabit this extreme environment. It's an astonishing discovery, given that Lake Enigma is situated in one of the most remote and unforgiving corners of our planet, the northern Victoria Land region of Antarctica. The entire South Pole is frigid, but this particular location is especially harsh. Temperatures here can plummet to a horrifying 41 degrees, although the average temperature hovers around a relatively balmy 7 degrees. But, as we said, this lake simply shouldn't exist at all. Antarctica is technically the largest desert on Earth, despite its snow-covered landscape, because it's incredibly dry. Rainfall is virtually non-existent, snowfall is minimal, and the sun's rays barely cause any evaporation. Furthermore, the ferocious winds swiftly dry out any moisture that might accumulate. Logically, this lake should lose an astounding 7 million cubic feet of water every year. Yet, the water persists. Why? The answer remains elusive. Scientists speculate that there might be an underground source that constantly replenishes the lake. They have no idea what that source might be. Perhaps deep underground rivers, melting ice, or something entirely unknown. Hence the name, Lake Enigma. The block of ice we mentioned earlier is permanent and exceptionally thick, measuring at least 36 feet. That's taller than a 3-story building. Researchers were determined to investigate what lay beneath this formidable barrier. They deployed a ground-penetrating radar, a sophisticated echo detector designed for subterranean exploration. This radar emits invisible radio waves into the ground. When these waves encounter something underground, such as rocks, water, or any other material, they bounce back. Imagine peering into the hidden depths of our planet, places untouched by sunlight for eons. Let's journey to Antarctica, a land of ice and secrets, where even beneath the frozen surface, life finds a way. Scientists, armed with technology mimicking nature's own sonar, are probing the depths. Just as bats and dolphins use echolocation to navigate the underwater world, researchers employ radar to map hidden structures deep beneath the ice. By analyzing the returning signals, they can determine distances and identify what lies buried below. This ingenious method allowed them to create a complete map of the world hidden beneath Lake Enigma's icy shield. The presence of water wasn't the real surprise. It was the unique ecosystem thriving within it that sent ripples of shock through the scientific community. Forget secret monsters or extraterrestrial relics. What they discovered were microorganisms unlike any found elsewhere on Earth. These tiny creatures have somehow managed to survive in complete isolation, enduring extreme cold and darkness. We aren't entirely unfamiliar with these microorganisms, but the specific forms discovered in Lake Enigma are truly unique. Several groups of bacteria call this extreme environment home. First, there are the bacteroidetes, masters of breaking down complex molecules. These bacteria are commonly found in our digestive systems, aiding in the breakdown of tough plant fibers. While they primarily reside within us, they can also be found in soils and oceans. Then come the actinobacteriota, the genius chemists of the bacterial world. They excel at decomposing organic materials, enriching the soil. Remarkably, they are also prolific producers of antibiotics, playing a crucial role in modern medicine. The Pseudomonodonta were less of a surprise. These adaptable organisms can thrive in a vast array of environments, from soil and water to the human body. Some are beneficial, aiding plant growth and nutrient cycles, while others can be opportunistic pathogens, the bad guys of the microscopic world. But the real shock came with the abundance of Parcubacteria in Lake Enigma. These ultra-small microorganisms are so diminutive that they can barely function independently. They exist primarily in symbiotic relationships or as tiny parasites, relying on hosts for nutrients and other essential resources. These microscopic chompers may be ancient, remnants of a time before the lake completely froze over hundreds of thousands of years ago. Encountering these bacteria, especially the parasitic Parcubacteria, in Lake Enigma is particularly baffling. These bacteria typically thrive in low-oxygen environments, but this lake is exceptionally oxygen-rich, not to mention being capped by nearly 40 feet of ice. All this suggests that these specific species may be entirely new to science. They may have evolved unique adaptations and abilities, exploiting the lake's unusual chemistry. They likely depend on a remarkably simple and fragile food web. Some microorganisms generate energy from the meager light that penetrates the ice or from the lake's chemical compounds. The symbiotic species likely survive by living on or inside their neighbors. Even here, in this seemingly desolate place, microscopic creatures hunt each other. A reminder that the struggle for survival extends to every corner of the Earth, no matter how extreme. Unlocking the secrets of their survival could revolutionize our understanding of chemistry, medicine, and even the possibility of extraterrestrial life. If life can endure such extreme conditions on Earth, it could potentially exist on other celestial bodies, such as Europa or Enceladus, the ice-covered moons of Jupiter and Saturn, which are believed to harbor vast oceans beneath their frozen surfaces. The discovery in Lake Enigma dramatically increases the likelihood that life might exist beyond our planet. Antarctica serves as our closest analog to extraterrestrial exploration, a world of hidden mysteries and surprising creatures. Even beyond Lake Enigma, the South Pole teems with life. Consider the McMurdo Dry Valleys, often called Earth's Mars. These are among the most extreme and enigmatic places on our planet. Stretching across Victoria Land in Antarctica, they represent one of the driest environments on Earth. A fitting description given their name. Unlike most of the South Pole, these valleys are almost entirely devoid of snow and ice, revealing a landscape of supercooled ground. You might even find sand dunes nestled between the rugged mountains. The ground is primarily covered in loose gravel, strewn with ancient rocks composed of granite and a fascinating rock called gneiss, pronounced nice. Gneiss is a metamorphic rock, meaning it has endured extreme conditions. It forms when granite and sedimentary rocks are subjected to immense pressure and intense heat over extended periods, a process known as metamorphism. These conditions are so severe that they literally rearrange the minerals into layers, giving gneiss its distinctive banded appearance. Imagine a place where the very planet seems to have been meticulously crafted, layer upon layer, like some colossal geological cake. We're talking about a landscape frozen in time, a place that offers an almost pristine glimpse into Earth's ancient past, millions of years gone by. These valleys, untouched by the relentless march of time, hold secrets, whispers of life from epochs long forgotten. But this is no gentle idyll. Here, local winds are a force of nature, terrifying gusts of frigid air that roar down the slopes, evaporating snow faster than it can even think about melting. Logically, you wouldn't expect to find much water here, let alone life. Yet, against all odds, frozen lakes and saline ponds dot the desolate landscape of the dry valleys, and the life that clings to existence here defies our very understanding of biology. Life thrives within the rocks themselves. Hidden in the barely moist cracks and crevices, microorganisms carve out a niche. Deep inside, we find endolithic bacteria, hardy survivors who have mastered the art of stillness. Unlike their more mobile cousins, these creatures remain rooted within their rocky homes. How do they manage to survive in such a harsh environment? Through the miracle of a photosynthesis. Like miniature plants, they capture the faint rays of light that penetrate the crevices, turning themselves into living solar panels, drawing energy from the sun's distant embrace. And beneath the Taylor Glacier, an even stranger phenomenon exists: bacteria that seemingly require nothing at all. No comfort, no sunlight, not even oxygen. These enigmatic organisms subsist on a diet of dusty rocks and sulfur, fueling their alien metabolisms. By breaking down sulfur and iron, they extract the energy needed to sustain themselves in the frigid darkness. This allows them to thrive in deep, sub-freezing waters, utterly isolated from sunlight, oxygen, and the rest of the world. This place is a paradox, fascinating for both the life it harbors and the life it lacks. In certain areas, such as University Valley, and yes, that's its actual name, the permafrost is so unforgiving that no microbial life can be found. This may be one of the few places on Earth where life appears to be completely absent, a thought that sends a chill down the spine. Now, scientists are turning their attention to Lake Enigma, contemplating drilling into this Mars-like environment. Their goal: to understand how we might one day collect samples from the red planet itself, learning the secrets of life, or its absence, beyond our own world. The answers to some of the biggest questions about life on Earth, and possibly beyond, may lie hidden in this most desolate of places. Imagine a colossal beast of the ancient seas, a plesiosaur of immense proportions, tipping the scales at a staggering 15 tons. That's roughly equivalent to the combined weight of 2 modern African elephants. The initial discovery of this marine giant's fossilized remains occurred on Seymour Island, nestled in the icy embrace of Antarctica, back in 1989. However, the sheer size of the plesiosaur and its entombment within formidable rock presented a monumental challenge. It required 3 painstaking expeditions for scientists to fully extract the fossilized bones. Ultimately, a remarkable 1,660 pounds of fossilized material was transported back to the laboratory for study. Upon close examination, the scientists made a crucial observation. Certain vertebrae were fused together. This indicated that the plesiosaur was a fully mature adult at the time of its death. Following meticulous analysis of the fossils, the scientific consensus placed the creature's existence approximately 30,000 years before the cataclysmic mass extinction event that brought the age of dinosaurs to a close. Now, let's journey to a different mystery, one involving human exploration and the unforgiving Arctic. The ill-fated Franklin expedition sought to chart a northwest passage, aiming to make trade routes between Europe and Asia shorter and faster. The last documented sighting of Captain Franklin and his crew was by sailors aboard 2 whaling vessels in August of that year. Thereafter, their fate became shrouded in mystery, a puzzle that would endure for nearly 170 years. Numerous search parties were dispatched to the frigid reaches of northern Canada, where they uncovered unsettling clues. Artifacts left behind by Franklin's crew were discovered, and poignant accounts were gathered from the local Inuit people. A note, dated 1847, was even found on King William Island, penned by a member of the expedition. It revealed that the 2 ships had become trapped in the relentless grip of the ice. Finally, in 2014, Canadian scientists announced a momentous discovery: the wreckage of the HMS Erebus, resting on the seabed of Wilmot and Crampton Bay. 2 years later, the second ship, HMS Terror, was located approximately 45 miles away. Remarkably, both vessels remained in remarkably good condition, despite their extended submersion. Underwater archaeologists meticulously examined the ship's cabins, retrieving hundreds of objects. These artifacts are helping to piece together a more complete understanding of the events that transpired during the final tragic days of Franklin's perilous voyage. Our next story takes us to the mountains of Norway. In the summer of 2019, a hiker stumbled upon an unusual sandal in an area known as the Horse Ice Patch. The hiker promptly provided GPS coordinates and photographs of the find to researchers specializing in archaeology preserved within glaciers and ice patches. The archaeologists, keenly aware of the ephemeral nature of such discoveries, scrutinized the weather forecast. They determined that they had a mere single day to recover the sandal before an impending snowfall would bury it beneath a thick, insulating blanket, potentially delaying its recovery for years. Acting swiftly, they raced to the location and secured the artifact. Radiocarbon dating revealed that this vintage shoe was approximately 1,700 years old, dating back to the Iron Age. In addition to the footwear, other intriguing artifacts were unearthed, including frozen horse manure from the Viking Age and fragments of textiles. These discoveries hint at the existence of an ancient travel route in the mountains, connecting inland Norway to the coast in times long past. Now, prepare to journey to one of the most enigmatic and unexplored regions on our planet, Antarctica. At first glance, it may seem like nothing more than a landscape of icy peaks and endless snow. But beneath the surface lies a planetary-scale mystery. Try as you might, you won't be able to see the hidden mountain range, a giant, unexplored land where no human has ever ventured. It lies beneath a layer of ice and another layer of mountains. It's like a nesting doll, but on the scale of an entire continent. These hidden mountains guard Antarctica's secrets, secrets that could unlock incredible insights into the ancient history of our world. This vast, unexplored territory is known as the Gamburtsev subglacial mountains. The thick layer of ice above has kept this region untouched by both nature and humankind. It's a land within a land, concealing not only mountains, but also valleys, hills, and plains. The entire area bears a striking resemblance to the European Alps. Unfortunately, we cannot simply admire the view. These mountains were initially detected in 1958 using seismological instruments. More than half a century has passed, yet this region remains one of the least understood tectonic features on Earth. The reason? Ice. Immense quantities of ice. What secrets might lie hidden beneath? Could there be undiscovered ancient artifacts, perhaps even the remnants of a lost city or extraterrestrial spacecraft? While such possibilities are unlikely, the prospect of exploration remains compelling. Consider the implications. Hundreds, even thousands, of miles of land that have remained virtually unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. Even if no new species of animals or traces of ancient civilizations are found, this place undoubtedly holds a rich history. The history of the formation of continents on our planet. Scientists have already begun to piece together parts of this story. The mountains buried beneath Antarctica were once ordinary mountains, shaped by the same geological forces that sculpted mountain ranges elsewhere on the globe. But as a result of a planetary-scale event, they were... But wait! Have you ever paused to consider how mountain ranges are formed in the first place? We encounter them in our daily lives, see them in movies, and admire them in photographs online. We even climb them. But how did these colossal formations come into existence? The world as we know it, with its familiar continents and mountain ranges, hasn't always been this way. Imagine a time, hundreds of millions of years ago, when the very ground beneath our feet was in violent slow-motion collision. Picture this. Colossal tectonic plates, immense slabs of the Earth's crust, grinding inexorably towards each other. Then, a cataclysmic crash. Millions upon millions of tons of rock, buckled and broken, forced skyward in a slow-motion explosion of geological fury. Ledges formed, gorges were carved, and mountains began their agonizingly slow ascent. This wasn't a quick event. We're talking about a process that unfolded over eons, millions of years passing like mere moments. And the earth-shattering drama continues even today. The towering Himalayas, for instance, are still growing, pushed ever higher as the Indian and Eurasian plates relentlessly collide. This titanic struggle began approximately 50 million years ago, a blink of an eye in geological time. But let's journey back even further, to a time when the Gamburtsev Mountains, now hidden beneath the icy wastes of Antarctica, were born. According to research published in the journal Earth and Planetary Science Letters, their formation was linked to the assembly of the supercontinent Gondwana. envision two gargantuan landmasses separated by a vast primordial ocean. Then, around 700 million years ago, the inevitable happened. They collided. The impact was of unimaginable scale. Gondwana, encompassing the lands that would become modern-day Africa, South America, Australia, India, and Antarctica, was forged in this crucible. The collision unleashed a torrent of molten rock, a subterranean river of magma that surged upwards, solidifying into towering peaks. These mountains grew, their mass increasing relentlessly. But such immensity could not last. Gondwana, unstable under its own colossal weight, began to crumble. The supercontinent started to collapse. Deep below the surface, the superheated rocks began to flow, spreading laterally in a process known as gravitational spreading. Think of squeezing toothpaste from a tube, a similar principle, but on a scale that dwarfs human comprehension. Billions of tons of incandescent rock oozed outwards, and the ancient mountains of Antarctica arose amidst this catastrophic upheaval. What you've just witnessed is a glimpse of planetary-scale events that transpired hundreds of millions of years ago. But how did scientists piece together this ancient puzzle? How did they witness this global destruction frozen in time? After all, the Gamburtsev Mountains, buried deep beneath the Antarctic ice, are among the least explored places on Earth. The answer lies in tiny messengers, microscopic fragments of rock that hold the secrets of the planet's past. Zircons. Scientists call them time capsules, and for good reason. These hardy minerals are incredibly resistant to mechanical and chemical weathering. They are almost impossible to crush, immune to erosion, and insoluble in water. And crucially, they contain uranium. This radioactive element acts as an internal clock, revealing the age of the rock in which it is found. Uranium decays into lead at a constant, predictable rate. By measuring the ratio of uranium to lead, scientists can determine the age of a zircon with astonishing accuracy. Let's simplify this a bit. Imagine each mountain range as a clock that starts ticking the moment it forms, after the collision of tectonic plates. As the rock solidifies, uranium begins its slow, relentless decay. The more time that passes, the more uranium transforms into lead. This decay continues for billions of years. The less uranium and the more lead found within a zircon, the older the rock. In practice, geologists collect rock samples, and in the lab, crush them to extract these crystalline zircons. They then dissolve the particles in acid to separate the uranium from the lead. Finally, they use a sophisticated instrument called a mass spectrometer. This device accelerates atoms and sorts them according to their mass, allowing scientists to precisely measure the amounts of uranium and lead present. By analyzing the ratios of these elements, they can calculate the age of the rock with remarkable precision. Geologists collected zircons from sandstones near the Gamburtsev Mountains, meticulously studying them, analyzing their uranium content, and calculating the chronology of the mountain's formation. They then compared this data with the known history of the Earth and realized that the mountains hidden beneath the Antarctic ice had emerged during the formation of Gondwana. But how did they determine that Gondwana included Australia, India, and Africa? The answer, once again, lies within the zircons. The zircons from the Antarctic rocks turned out to be remarkably similar to those found in Australia, India, and Africa. This was a clear indication that, in the distant past, these continents were once joined together in a single, massive landmass. So, the Gamburtsev Mountains began their ascent approximately 650 million years ago. Around 580 million years ago, they rivaled the Himalayas in height. But a mere 80 million years later, they experienced a period of intense melting within the Earth's crust. And while most of the mountain ranges on the planet have been reshaped and eroded by the relentless forces of nature, the Gamburtsev Mountains, shielded by their icy blanket, have remained largely untouched. For hundreds of millions of years, water, soil, wind, earthquakes, gravity, and other natural forces have relentlessly attacked the Earth's surface, but the Gamburtsev Mountains have stood firm, a testament to the immense power of geological processes and the enduring nature of time. Imagine a world where mountain ranges stand frozen in time, untouched by the relentless forces of erosion. We're talking about mountains buried deep within Antarctica, a landscape sculpted by unimaginable cold and shielded by colossal ice sheets. These aren't just any mountains. They're among the best preserved ancient mountain belts on our entire planet. But why venture into this frozen realm? What significance lies in the collapse of the supercontinent Gondwana millions upon millions of years ago? The answer could be astounding. Preserved beneath those thick layers of ice might lie dormant plants, perfectly frozen insects, and even ancient bacteria, all waiting to be rediscovered. And what of the animals that once roamed Gondwana? Countless species could have thrived on this lost continent. By studying these ancient Antarctic mountains, we can glimpse a vision of Earth as it existed perhaps 500 million years ago, when Antarctica was a vibrant, green land. What life teemed there? What cataclysm befell it? Could we even, in theory, revive these ancient creatures after eons of slumber? If scientists can pinpoint the formation of a supercontinent using minuscule particles, imagine the revelations that await within this hidden mountain range. Yet, a formidable challenge stands in our way. To unlock the secrets of this unknown world, we must first penetrate a staggering amount of ice. We need to transport massive equipment to one of the most remote and hostile environments on Earth, establish research stations, secure a reliable power source, and undertake extensive research. The sheer cost of such an undertaking is staggering. Perhaps this hidden territory will remain shrouded in mystery for the foreseeable future. We can only hope that a visionary with deep pockets will be captivated by Antarctica's secrets and launch a grand expedition. Intriguingly, scientists recently stumbled upon a lake in Antarctica that has completely upended our understanding of life's potential. They bored through seemingly impenetrable ice and discovered liquid water where everything should have been frozen solid. And within this water, life thrives. Actual living organisms, flourishing in perpetual darkness, untouched by the outside world for eons. The story begins with an expedition that etched a new, vital point onto the Antarctic map. Between November 2019 and January 2020, a team of researchers traversed the frozen wasteland and arrived at a location they named Enigma Lake. Initially, they believed they were walking across a solid expanse of ice. However, their instruments revealed something extraordinary. They deployed a powerful drill, piercing through layer after layer of ice, and detected at least 40 feet of liquid water trapped beneath the surface. They sought rock, but instead, they uncovered a hidden world, a subglacial lake teeming with life in the most unexpected place. The scientists, understandably astonished, pressed on, determined to unravel the mystery of the lake's origin. This region of Antarctica is notorious for its unforgiving climate. Extreme temperatures, meager precipitation, relentless winds, and intense solar evaporation. Hardly ideal conditions for a lake. Any surface water should have vanished long ago. Thus, this subglacial lake must have a source of replenishment. The researchers analyzed the chemical composition of the salts and dissolved minerals in the water. They discerned patterns that pointed to a surprising source. A nearby glacier feeding the lake through an underground network previously unknown to exist. Here it is, a breathtaking Antarctic discovery, concealed beneath the ice, sustained not by rain or surface melt, but by a subterranean flow that silently circumnavigates the Earth. And as the team delved deeper, they unearthed not just water, but a secret ecosystem. Life where it seemed impossible. Now, when we say life, we're not talking about complex organisms. We're referring to minuscule creatures, intricate structures, microbial communities that evolved in complete isolation, shielded by the ice, confined to their hidden domain. They carpet the lakebed in microbial mats, not just clumps of algae, but elaborate, carpet-like formations of microorganisms. Some of these mats resemble thin, spiky coverings. Others appear as thick, crumpled carpets, or even tree-like structures reaching up to 15 inches in height. These formations, seemingly ripped from a science fiction film about life on another planet, aren't merely random specks of DNA adrift in the water. They're thriving, constructing intricate structures, layering, evolving over time. The lakebed is akin to a forest floor, only plunged in darkness, frigid and entombed in ice. If life can prosper beneath 45 feet of ice in near total darkness, perhaps our notions of where life can exist need a radical reassessment. But we must also consider the potential consequences of disturbing this hidden lake ecosystem. What happens when we introduce humans, machinery, or even our breath into the equation? These microbes have existed in isolation for millennia, perhaps millions of years, without any contact with the world above. Imagine a scenario where human interference disrupts the delicate balance of this pristine environment. These unique organisms, isolated for millennia, would face a grave threat upon encountering foreign microbes. The lake's delicate ecosystem could be irrevocably altered, contaminated by unseen forces. As we venture into this uncharted territory, extreme caution is paramount. Antarctica, in its entirety, represents an unparalleled chronicle of evolution, adaptation, and survival. A narrative we must decipher with meticulous care. This frozen continent never ceases to amaze. In its remote and unexplored corners, creatures previously unknown to science emerge. From the bizarre depths of the ocean to insects that thrive in icy conditions, Antarctica harbors a biodiversity that defies expectations. Take, for instance, the ice-loving sea anemone, a surreal spectacle discovered clinging upside down beneath the Ross ice shelf. Resembling a delicate flower, this creature adheres to the icy ceiling, its tentacles swaying in waters as frigid as a broken heart. Researchers deploying a remotely operated vehicle beneath the ice stumbled upon this entirely new species. Then, there's the Antarctic strawberry feather star, Promachocrinus frigarius, a celebrity newcomer boasting undeniable red carpet charisma. This floating pom-pom, a true spectacle of nature, can possess up to 20 arms. Its peculiar nickname stems from the resemblance of its body to a strawberry. Antarctica, seemingly the last place one would expect to find a fish nursery, is home to the largest known breeding ground of its kind on Earth. Researchers, towing cameras along the Weddell Sea seabed during a mapping expedition, stumbled upon a breathtaking sight. Thousands, then millions, of identical bowl-shaped depressions in the sediment. These nests blanketed an astonishing 93 square miles of seafloor, with an estimated 60 million nests spaced approximately 10 inches apart. Each nest belonged to the icefish, Chionodracohamatus, a creature with white blood, devoid of hemoglobin, the component responsible for the red color of blood. Yet, against all odds, these fish thrive in waters so cold they could freeze the very soul. Within each nest, a dedicated parent fish diligently guards approximately 700 eggs. As it turns out, Weddell seals, Leptonicotes weddelli, are avid consumers of icefish. This massive breeding ground serves not only as a nursery, but also as a veritable buffet for the region's predators. The icefish themselves sustain themselves by feeding on nutrients and microscopic zooplankton drawn in by a warm upwelling. Intriguingly, the icefish colony exhibits a sharply defined edge, a literal line in the sand. This boundary precisely aligns with the outer perimeter of the warm upwelling, hinting at a carefully honed evolutionary adaptation. Another remarkable Antarctic discovery that astounded scientists was not a visually striking fish or a fossilized dinosaur bone, but something potentially even more significant: bubbles. These weren't just any bubbles, but tiny ancient pockets of air trapped within what could be the oldest ice ever recovered, dating back nearly 1.2 million years. Prior to this find, researchers had reconstructed climate history spanning 800,000 years. However, their ambition extended further. Years were dedicated to the search for an ideal location where the ice could provide an uninterrupted record. Certain Antarctic regions hold even older ice, perhaps 3 or 4 million years old, but its distribution is fragmented. A continuous, unbroken record was the ultimate goal. The painstaking drilling finally yielded success, revealing crystal-clear ice cores containing bubbles that had preserved the Earth's atmosphere as it existed hundreds of thousands of years ago. By analyzing the composition of the air trapped within these ancient bubbles, scientists gain unprecedented insights. They can determine what our distant ancestors inhaled, what the planet exhaled, and how the interplay of life and climate unfolded long before our time. The period around 900,000 years ago, the very epoch sealed within this ice, may have represented one of humanity's closest brushes with extinction. Genetic studies suggest that the human population dwindled to a mere 1,300 individuals across the entire globe. The precise cause remains shrouded in mystery, but climate change is a prime suspect. These ancient bubbles may hold the critical clues needed to decipher how our ancestors weathered one of the most challenging chapters in Earth's history, and perhaps even provide guidance on how we can navigate the challenges that lie ahead. After all, the planet has a tendency to repeat itself in novel and unsettling ways, and Antarctica holds invaluable lessons for us. One lesson, potentially learned the hard way, pertains to what lies hidden beneath the ice. Recent scientific findings reveal that something is brewing beneath Antarctica, something far from benign. Volcanoes, dormant but potentially active, may be lurking beneath the icy surface. Yes, volcanoes, the hot, fiery kind, concealed beneath miles of ice. A research team, employing computer simulations, discovered that as portions of the ice melt, the pressure exerted upon these volcanoes diminishes. This creates a potentially catastrophic feedback loop. As the ice melts, a volcano awakens, triggering further ice melt. Even if humanity were to cease all activities impacting the planet's climate tomorrow, this chain reaction could persist. The threat isn't solely from the atmosphere, it's also from the fire concealed beneath our feet. The most alarming aspect is that this type of me. Imagine a world where the very ice beneath our feet is shifting, changing, and even being stolen. We're not talking about petty theft. This is ice piracy on a colossal scale, and the stakes are higher than you might think. After all, Antarctica holds over 70% of the Earth's freshwater reserves. The implications of its instability are staggering. Forget tropical seas and swashbuckling adventures. This is Pirates of the Caribbean, Antarctic style, where icy freezing waters replace the sun-drenched Caribbean. Our captain isn't the charming rogue Jack Sparrow, but a massive, relentless glacier. Meet the Polar East Glacier. At first glance, its serene, shimmering surface might appear harmless, even beautiful. But make no mistake, this is a pirate, and a highly skilled one at that. Instead of plundering gold and jewels, its prize is ice, stolen from its neighbors at an alarming rate. Scientists are astonished by what they're witnessing. What exactly is ice piracy? It's a peculiar phenomenon where one glacier essentially hijacks ice from another nearby. Instead of peacefully flowing towards the sea, minding its own business, the pirate glacier abruptly alters its course, aggressively pulling ice that rightfully belongs to its neighbor. The pirate accelerates, while its victim slows down. The consequences? The delicate balance of ice in the region can be completely disrupted. This isn't entirely new information. Scientists have been aware of this unusual behavior for some time. However, they previously believed this process unfolded over centuries, perhaps even millennia. Now, something extraordinary is unfolding in Antarctica. For the first time, we are observing a glacier pirate in action, and its movements are far more rapid than anyone anticipated. It began when researchers from the University of Leeds meticulously analyzed satellite images captured between 2005 and 2022. Their objective was to assess the flow rates of 8 ice streams in West Antarctica. And yes, glaciers do indeed move. Envision them as colossal accumulations of snow, transformed into solid ice over vast stretches of time. This ice undergoes continuous deformation, shifting and flowing under the relentless force of gravity. That's why glaciers are often referred to as rivers of ice, because they truly flow. Gravity is the engine driving this movement. The immense weight of the ice causes it to slowly slide and deform. Glacial movements can either advance or retreat. If the accumulation of snow and ice surpasses the rate at which it melts, breaks off, calves, or evaporates, the glacier will advance. Conversely, if losses exceed gains, it will retreat. Furthermore, glaciers move at varying speeds, influenced by factors such as the slope of the underlying terrain. But when that flow accelerates dramatically, that's a cause for serious concern for coastal communities worldwide. It signifies that more ice is transferring from land to the ocean, exacerbating Antarctic ice loss and ultimately contributing to rising sea levels. Returning to the recent research in Antarctica, the team employed a sophisticated tracking technique to calculate ice velocity. This method measures the displacement of visible features on the ice surface, such as cracks and rifts, over time. Their findings revealed that 7 of the 8 Antarctic glaciers had in fact accelerated. On average, their speed had doubled since 2005. Given the escalating impacts of climate change on Antarctica, which is warming at an alarming rate each year, this acceleration isn't entirely unexpected. But here's where the mystery deepens. One glacier, and only one, had slowed down. We're talking about the Polar West Glacier. It experienced a reduction in speed of approximately 10% during the study period. How can a massive block of ice suddenly apply the brakes? To unravel this puzzle, the researchers examined the surrounding environment. And there it was. The culprit, the Polar East Glacier. Experts believe that Polar West's deceleration is a direct consequence of its proximity to its piratical neighbor, the Polar East Glacier. The latter is moving at a significantly faster pace. In fact, it's one of the fastest-moving glaciers in the region. Its speed has been increasing by roughly 105 feet per year during the study period. While that might sound slow, even by tortoise standards, for a glacier, it's disturbingly rapid. Polar East is the Usain Bolt of ice chunks, but that's not the most remarkable aspect of this story. What's truly astonishing is that it has changed its direction of flow. Instead of proceeding straight ahead, as it once did, it's now veering towards its neighbor, Polar West, and aggressively pulling ice from it. Scientists theorize that this is happening because the ice at the point where the glacier meets the ocean is melting at an accelerated rate. This melting causes the ice to thin, and this thinning alters the flow dynamics of the ice upstream. Consequently, instead of the ice being distributed evenly between the two glaciers, a larger proportion is being channeled towards Polar East. In essence, Polar East is accelerating and altering its course, effectively stealing ice from its slower-moving neighbor. And just like that, this enigmatic glacier in Antarctica has transformed into a genuine ice pirate. All right, picture this: a colossal glacier, a silent titan of ice, moving with agonizing slowness. But wait, something's amiss. It's not just the glacial pace, it's piracy. Sounds bizarre, doesn't it? Yet, this ice piracy, as scientists are calling it, is a real phenomenon, a natural part of how these icy behemoths behave. They creep, they groan, they shift, and occasionally, they pilfer. But here's what's truly startling: the speed. What was once thought to be a glacial crawl unfolding over centuries is now happening in mere years, a geological blink of an eye. We're talking about a process compressed into a mere 18 years. This astonishing discovery wouldn't have been possible without the watchful eyes in the sky. The Copernicus Sentinel-1 mission, a pair of European satellites equipped with radar vision, constantly monitors Earth's surface. These technological sentinels track the subtle shifts in ice, land, and ocean with incredible precision, making them indispensable for understanding the rapidly changing polar regions. Keeping a close watch on these frigid realms is no longer just an academic pursuit, it's a matter of planetary importance. And the region where the Polar West and East glaciers reside is ground zero, thinning at an alarming rate. Glaciers here are retreating with record-breaking speed. The grounding line, that crucial point where the glacier detaches from the land and begins its float into the sea, is receding inland. This spells trouble because, once unmoored, the ice sheet accelerates its slide into the ocean. But the story doesn't end with simple melting. Scientists are witnessing a dramatic reshaping of these icy landscapes. The Polar East Glacier is a prime example. Observing this pirate glacier in action has forced a complete reassessment of how we understand these icy giants. The new data unveils unprecedented interactions between glaciers and floating ice shelves. Experts are now scrambling to rethink the behavior of these behemoths in a warming world. Why does this matter? Because these glaciers wield immense power over global sea levels. Antarctic glaciers are among the primary drivers of rising ocean waters. The continent sheds a staggering 135 billion tons of ice each year. That's like emptying tens of millions of Olympic-sized swimming pools into the ocean annually. If all of Antarctica's ice were to melt, sea levels would surge by approximately 190 feet. Imagine the consequences: vast swathes of Florida submerged, the Netherlands and Bangladesh inundated. Many island nations would simply vanish beneath the waves. What lies beneath this frozen expanse? It's not the flat, featureless landscape you might imagine. Underneath that mile-thick ice sheet lies a hidden world. Towering mountains, deep valleys, and a network of winding rivers. These subglacial rivers could play a critical role in how the ice sheet responds to the increasing warmth. Current predictions suggest that as Antarctica's ice sheet continues to melt and thin over the coming decades, these hidden rivers will swell, overflow their banks, and carve out new paths. This could destabilize the largest glaciers near the coast, accelerating their breakup and further contributing to sea level rise. That's why understanding these shifting dynamics and the movements of glaciers like our icy pirate is so vital. Each new discovery provides crucial insights into the forces driving Antarctic glaciers and their response to a warming planet. The more we learn about these frozen giants, the better equipped we are to predict future changes and understand how events in Antarctica could ripple across the globe. But the story of Antarctica doesn't end there. Mysterious mountain ranges lie hidden beneath thousands of tons of ice. Bizarre, transparent creatures with see-through skin inhabit the frigid waters. And then there's the singing snow plains. Antarctica is a land of secrets, a realm of the strange and the unknown. And now, a new enigma has emerged, a mysterious ice hole, a vast opening the size of Switzerland that repeatedly appears and disappears. This is the Maud-Rise Polynya, first observed in the Weddell Sea in 1974 and 1976. Since then, it has played a game of hide-and-seek, vanishing for years only to reappear, its size fluctuating mysteriously. For decades, researchers have struggled to understand its formation. Then, in 2016 and 2017, the Polynya exploded in size, expanding to over 30,000 square miles. This colossal hole persisted for weeks during the Antarctic winter, marking the first time since the 1970s that the Weddell Sea had witnessed such a massive, long-lasting opening. To understand the significance, consider the dynamics of Antarctic sea ice. During the summer months, the ice shrinks to its smallest extent, covering approximately 1 million square miles. But as winter descends, the ice expands dramatically, reaching a staggering 7 million square miles and covering roughly 4% of Earth's surface in a mosaic of white. Much of this ice forms during the weeks-long polar night on the floating ice shelves surrounding the continent. And within this vast expanse of ice, these mysterious holes appear. Imagine a vast icy expanse, the southern ocean stretching to the horizon. Here, amidst the endless white, a peculiar phenomenon unfolds. A massive hole, known as a polynya, appears in the ice. These aren't your typical coastal polynyas, formed when fierce inland winds tear apart the ice, allowing frigid air to freeze more seawater and expand the sheet. This polynya, the Maud-Rise Polynya, is far out in the open ocean, a place where such formations are exceedingly rare. Consider the context. The ice across the Southern Ocean has been steadily shrinking. Scientists are baffled. What specific set of conditions could possibly give rise to this persistent, colossal ice hole? To unravel this icy enigma, researchers plunged headfirst into a vast ocean of data. Satellite imagery, drifting sensors, even information gleaned from tagged marine animals. Every piece of evidence was meticulously analyzed. Years of prior observations from other research teams were also brought into the equation. And then, a breakthrough. In 2016 and 2017, the Weddell Gyre, a circular ocean current in the Weddell Sea, exhibited unusual strength. This amplified current injected extra force, making it easier for warmer, saltier water from the ocean depths to ascend towards the surface. The Maud-Rise Polynya is situated above an underwater mountain, the Maud-Rise. During those years when the Polynya was particularly pronounced, The intensified current caused salt to accumulate around this submerged peak. Above, the wind howled across the ice, creating a swirling corkscrew effect. This powerful vortex physically drew the salty water upwards from the depths. The increased salinity then lowered the freezing point of the surface water, allowing the Maudrise polynya to form and, even more remarkably, to endure. Polynyas are critical for the health of our planet. The dense, salty water that originates in these holes can traverse vast distances, spreading throughout the global ocean and profoundly impacting climate patterns worldwide. But these magnificent ice holes are not the only mysteries concealed within Antarctica. What about the hidden lakes? Imagine entire bodies of water concealed beneath miles of solid ice. Scientists first detected these subglacial lakes in the 1970s using radar technology. Today, they estimate that approximately 400 such lakes lie hidden beneath the Antarctic ice sheet in the explored regions, buried under roughly 2 miles of ice. These lakes likely originated after Antarctica separated from Gondwana, the ancient supercontinent. Astonishingly, the water within these lakes remains liquid due to the immense pressure exerted by the overlying ice. Physics at its finest. The largest of these hidden giants is Lake Vostok, discovered in the 1990s. It lies more than 2 miles beneath the ice. Scientists have even drilled down to collect samples. The water retrieved was a frigid 26 Kuitsurnov, despite having been sealed off from the atmosphere for over 20 million years. Then there's Lake Willans. In 2014, scientists made an extraordinary discovery there. They found a thriving colony of microorganisms residing nearly a mile beneath the ice. These minuscule creatures have never experienced sunlight or fresh air. Instead, they derive energy from methane and ammonium to fuel their growth. Another wonder can be found in the McMurdo Dry Valleys. Blood Falls is a waterfall that appears to have been ripped straight from a horror film. Bright crimson water, resembling blood pouring from a wound in the ice, cascades down 5 stories from the Taylor Glacier into Lake Bonny. But there is a scientific explanation for this macabre spectacle. The water-feeding Blood Falls was once part of a saltwater lake. It is now completely isolated from the atmosphere, trapped more than 300 feet underground beneath the glacier. The water has become incredibly saline, 3 times saltier than seawater, preventing it from freezing. This subterranean water is also saturated with iron and completely devoid of oxygen and sunlight. As it slowly seeps through a fissure in the glacier and comes into contact with the open air, the iron oxidizes, essentially rusting, transforming the water into that unsettling, dark red hue. With its eerie landscapes, Antarctica might appear to be a desolate, frozen wasteland. Temperatures plummet to unimaginable lows, rainfall is virtually non-existent, and winds can easily knock you off your feet. The coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth, a staggering 128.6 degrees, was registered here. Yet, Antarctica teems with bizarre and fascinating wildlife. For a long time, scientists believed that nothing could survive beneath the ice. They were profoundly mistaken. A diverse array of creatures has adapted to this brutal environment. Tiny microbes, crustaceans, colossal squid, and spiders so large that their legs could span a dinner plate. Giant worms with gleaming golden bristles and enormous, sharp-toothed jaws also lurk beneath the ice. And then there's the ice fish, a completely transparent fish with massive eyes and organs. You can literally see through its skin. These fish possess built-in antifreeze proteins that enable them to survive in the freezing waters, and they cannot survive in warmer climates. Even more remarkably, they lack hemoglobin, the protein that gives our blood its red color. In essence, they thrive without the very substance that sustains most animal life. But Antarctica wasn't always the frozen desert we know today. Let's journey back millions of years, to a time before recorded history, to the continent we now know as Antarctica. Imagine a landscape vastly different from the icy desert of today. Before the Great Ice Age gripped the planet, this land was warm, teeming with life, a lush paradise of rainforests and vibrant ecosystems. Could it even have been home to forgotten civilizations? It seems impossible, yet the evidence is there. Paleontologists have unearthed fossilized wood, the petrified remains of tropical trees, and delicate leaf impressions, all whispering tales of ancient rainforests that once thrived in this now frozen realm. Furthermore, the icy depths have yielded fossils of marine animals, birds, and even dinosaurs, dating back to the Cretaceous period. Even the smallest creatures have left their mark on the Antarctic landscape. Scientists have discovered fossilized beetle wings dating back an astonishing 14 to 20 million years. They've even found single-celled fossils and incredibly well-preserved sperm cells, entombed within the egg case of an extinct worm for 50 million years. And there's more hidden beneath the ice. Imagine a colossal mountain range buried under thousands of feet of ice. The Gamburtsev Mountains. Stretching for over 745 miles and reaching heights of almost 10,000 feet, these mountains are comparable in scale to a third of Mount Everest. This entire range lies hidden beneath a layer of ice ranging from 6,500 to 1,300 feet thick. The Gamburtsev Mountains were first discovered in 1958 when scientists noticed a subtle thinning of the ice and unusual gravitational readings as they traversed the continent. Although no human eye has ever directly witnessed these peaks, researchers employ radar technology to map their contours and analyze gravitational and magnetic data to study them down to their very base. Perhaps the most astonishing aspect of the Gamburtsev Mountains is their age, approximately 1 billion years old. In theory, such ancient formations should have succumbed to erosion long ago. How they remain standing is a mystery. Many scientists believe that a frozen mantle beneath the ice may be shielding them from the forces of erosion, preserving this ancient range intact. And even more incredibly, Antarctica possesses its own unique soundtrack. The Ross Ice Shelf, the continent's largest, stretches across 193,000 square miles, an area roughly the size of France, and is several hundred feet thick. Scientists have recently discovered that this immense slab of ice actually sings. This eerie melody is produced by winds sweeping across snow dunes, generating vibrations within the ice, creating a nearly continuous seismic hum. This haunting sound is inaudible to the human ear, but it can be detected by sensitive seismic sensors. Its discovery was accidental. Scientists had installed the sensors to monitor other ice phenomena. But the song of the ice holds secrets. The melody shifts in response to changes in the ice. Melting, storms, and shifting snow all subtly alter the vibrations. Researchers are now using this ethereal music as an early warning system, monitoring it in real time to assess the ice shelf's stability and potential for collapse. In the depths of the Antarctic Ocean, scientists have stumbled upon a hidden world teeming with life. Giant vase-like sponges, otherworldly jellyfish, segmented worms adorned with bristles, and large octopuses. This remarkable discovery was made after a massive iceberg broke away, revealing a treasure trove of ancient life beneath the ice. In January 2025, a colossal iceberg, designated A84 and comparable in size to the city of Chicago, calved from Antarctica's George VI ice shelf. This massive ice shelf stretches for approximately 280 miles in length and ranges from 12 to 43 miles in width, with an average thickness of around 820 feet. During the Antarctic summer, which extends from November to late February, the ice shelf undergoes surface melting, giving rise to elongated, ribbon-like meltwater lakes. When the A84 iceberg drifted away, it exposed a section of the ocean floor that had never before been seen by human eyes. Scientists aboard the research vessel Falar 2 operating in the Bellingshausen Sea, recognized the extraordinary opportunity. They immediately altered their research plans, understanding that this was a rare chance to explore the unknown, like lifting a rock in a primeval forest to discover what creatures lurk beneath. The researchers deployed an underwater robot named Sebastian, exploring the deep sea for 8 days, reaching depths of over 4,200 feet. There, in the crushing darkness, they encountered a hidden ecosystem. Towering corals and massive sponges formed a dense habitat, teeming with marine life, a vibrant world thriving beneath the ice. The scientists had anticipated finding some life in this extreme environment, but they were unprepared for the sheer abundance and diversity they encountered. Anemones resembling fluffy trees, delicate sea spiders, elusive ice fish, and mysterious octopuses all thrived in this icy realm. The entire exploration was live streamed to scientists around the world, making the discovery accessible to all. Most excitingly, some of the creatures discovered appear to be entirely new species. Yes, in 2025, new species are still being discovered in Antarctica, and some may be unique to this isolated region. Antarctica's remoteness and the Antarctic circumpolar current, which encircles the continent like a vast watery moat, have isolated it from the rest of the world for millions of years, fostering the evolution of unique and specialized life forms.